How's it going today, guys? As many of you are well aware, up on the old channel, Alistair Mycroft the Fifth, I had a plethora of videos about Aiden Paladin, and sadly, that fucking channel as well, you guys are well aware, it's fucking gone. Someone got a little bit too salty. Didn't like my edgy humor. Someone couldn't take a fucking joke, and as a result of this, they decided to have a nice little chimp out. And they figured they might as well let YouTube know that Penguin Man bad. But thankfully, two videos from that channel were saved. Which is a lot less than I would have imagined, but, hey, two's better than nothing, right? Right. One of those videos just so happens to be both parts 1 and 2 of Aiden Paladin's Drunk Golf Fiasco. That was when Aiden Paladin went on Shannon Gaines' show, Gaydor Time, and discussed for a little bit over 2 hours or so over some various topics. Mr. Medicre's Patreon getting flagged down, that was definitely one of them. Aiden Paladin being the worst friend humanly imaginable, that's definitely one that was covered. And then there was the whole Tonka Saw versus Andy Worski fight down in Knoxville. Now, the entirety of the whole Tonka Saw versus Andy Worski video segment that Aiden Paladin talked about, that's up on my good friend Grim Cheers' channel. I will leave a link to Grim Cheers' channel if you're interested in giving my homie a nice little sub. But today, I figured we go over that once again. Now, today, this is from the Maya Chavez channel, also known as Medicare Fembot. So, yeah, let's get into this. I should certainly hope that Maya Chavez and her boyfriend Aaron Cole don't copyright strike, this video I'm about to make. Should certainly hope that's not the case. Be very sad if that were to happen.
As people who were ostensibly friends of Tonka, who was telling us he was getting, and was telling us like the whole time, like, oh, Andy's lying. I kept being like, no, Andy's not lying about this stuff. And he was like, oh, Andy's lying. And then we show the fuck up. I have spent, by the way, not my boyfriend, me, my fucking money has fucking spent.
Okay. So, let's just let that sink in for just a moment. Aiden Paladin, someone who was not interested in this drama at the time, someone who was relatively neutral during the whole Tonka Saw and Andy Worski shit show. Now, for those who do not know exactly as to what happened and what actually led up to this fight, I'm going to briefly explain what happened. So, around this time, 2 years ago, some Snapchat DM screenshots were leaked, which basically painted Andy Worski as a pedophile. Andy Worski, he was hitting up this alleged underage girl from Texas. And when that shit got leaked, okay, once those screen caps got, revealed to the internet, a lot of people were getting ready to lynch Andy Worski. And I can't say I blame him. These fucking, Snapchat DMs are making Andy Morsky look like a pedo. That would be the natural thing to do, right? You want to fucking lynch this guy. You want to strangle this guy. You want to beat the shit out of him. Here are these DMs from Snapchat of Andy Morsky trying to hook up with an underage girl from Texas. And so, later on in the day, Ethan Ralph, on his show, The Kill Stream, had a show dedicated to those Snapchat leaks. And he brought along Andy Morsky. And Andy Morsky said, that isn't me, this is not true, this is all an op. And one of the people that was most prominent in going on the whole Andy Morsky is a pedo tirade is Tonka Saw. Now, Ethan Ralph had reached out to Tonka Saw and asked Tonka Saw to go on the show and explain what's going on with these Snapchat DM leaks. And aside from that, Ethan Ralph also tried to get into contact with the underage girl in question. Well, Tonka Saw did not show on that episode of The Ralph Retort, and neither did the underage girl. We later found out, I believe it might have been 2-3 days afterwards, one of my dearest and oldest internet friends on the internet, Mr. El Rariachi. El Rariachi was at one time an ex-Kumite co-host. He used to do the morning Kumite with Tonka Saw back in the day. And El Rariachi got into contact with Andy Morsky. And he told Andy Morsky that he had secretly recorded a Google Hangouts voice call between Tonka Saw, El Rariachi, Kraut and T, some of Kraut's friends, and later on, V. Monroe. Now, for those who do not know who V is, he's a Romanian degenerate who is bestest friends with Sargon of Akkad. And if you don't know who Sargon of Akkad is, well, just fucking type his name into YouTube. It's not that hard. Jesus. Anyway. So yeah, El Rariachi releases, that little recording of the Google Hangouts call he had with Andy Morsky. Gave it to Andy Morsky. And they started playing it on Morsky's show. The whole Google Hangout call was just Tonka and Kraut and them discussing ways to fuck up Andy Morsky's life. And then later on, we found out that the Snapchat DMs in question, the Snapchat DMs that led to this whole shit show, well, they were fake. They were created by Tonka Saw and his people to fuck over Andy Morsky. And once it had come out that those Snapchat DMs in question were fake, Andy was pissed. And he wanted to beat Tonka Saw's ass. And so what had happened was, Tonka Saw managed to dial up a MMA fighter by the name of Tara La Rosa. And Tara La Rosa managed to set up this big, huge MMA fight down in Knoxville, Tennessee. It was going to be on pay-per-view and everything. It was even going to be in an actual stadium. Like, we're not talking some, fucking warehouse. We're not, talking about some place behind a fucking Denny's or some shit like that. We're talking an actual fucking stadium. Okay, this shit was going to be professional. And Andy Warski agreed to the fight, and so did Tonka Saw. And throughout the whole duration of the events leading up to the fight, Andy Warski, he was getting into shape. Towards the end of that, right before the fight, you could really see that Andy Warski, that guy was clearly working out, okay? He was getting some muscle, you could tell he was really working out. He was actually putting effort into the shit. Like, this motherfucker wanted to fight Tonka Saw. And what was Tonka Saw's response? Well, he did absolutely nothing. No one saw any pics of Tonka Saw working out. When it came to signing down the contracts, Tonka Saw never really did sign his fucking contracts. And towards the end, he actually changed his fucking name, which I swear to God, this actually fucking happened. He changed his name from Michael Robert Pillington to Robert Michael Pillington. I swear to God. He took his first name and made it his middle name, and his middle name his first name. Honest to fucking God. Plus, there was also some shit where he sent in the wrong type of blood work. So the fight had to get canceled. All because Tonka Saw was doing everything that he could within his power to ensure that the fight would not happen. So, yeah, that's your little bit of lore for the whole Tonka Saw and Andy Warski fight. Now, Tonka Saw did not actually go down to Knoxville. A couple of his, the Kumite people, they actually showed up to, Knoxville. But as for Tonka Saw himself, the main man in question, no, he did not. Anyway, let's continue.
Thousands of dollars to come down here to fucking Tennessee, to go down to this fucking...
Okay, I knew I forgot to mention something else, but, I find it very hilarious that Aiden Paladin is claiming she spent all this fucking money. Like I just said, Aiden Paladin was neutral during the course of this whole Tonka Saw and Andy Warski fight. Merc the Man Baby, her boyfriend at the time, he definitely was not neutral. And why is that, you may ask? Well, during the course of that whole Tonka Saw versus Andy Warski fight, Merc the Man Baby was constantly on the Kumite. You cannot go an entire week of watching the Kumite at that time without seeing Merc the Man Baby. Now keep in mind, Merc also said that he was very good friends with Andy Warski. And Andy Warski is his homie. Even though Merc the Man Baby supported Tonka, a man who called and tried to accuse of Andy Warski of being a pedophile. And also called Andy Warski a cuck to El Ariachi in Discord DMs, but that's going to be another story for another day. So yeah, when Aiden Paladin says she spent all this fucking money to go to a fight she really had no interest in, that's a fucking lie.
Place, which I don't really mind, because guess what? I get to have a bunch of goddamn fucking liquor, which is fine with me. I don't mind.
See, that's more or less the whole reason Aiden Paladin even bothered going down to Knoxville. It wasn't so she could meet up with Ralph, or Warski, or Dick Masterson, or Nick Ricada, or any other people on Warski's side, or any of the people on fucking, Tonka's side, or any of these people. Okay, the only reason Aiden Paladin went down to Knoxville to attend this fight, in Aiden Paladin's words, mind you, okay, this is Aiden Paladin's own words, you can believe it or not, but the only reason Aiden Paladin went down to Knoxville, Tennessee, was so he can stock up on liquor. which really doesn't surprise me, seeing as how this woman literally drinks like a fish. Every single fucking day, this woman is drinking. So it really doesn't surprise me that she would go down all the way down to fucking Knoxville, Tennessee to stock up on booze. Anyway, let us continue.
That shit. I get to have a bunch of whiskey. Great for me.
I'm sure it was great.
But I get told this fucking bullshit about how, like, oh man, we were gonna come down here and fight this goddamn fight the whole fucking time. No, you weren't, Tonka. You were never gonna fight that fucking fight. You made that shit up. You fucking bullshitted everybody on it, and you fucking tried to fuck people over, and you probably stole a bunch of money in terms of, like, I would never steal money like that from my goddamn fucking patrons and my fucking goddamn people.
That's going to be a massive X to doubt on that. It really is. At some point, we're going to hear the story about how Aiden Paladin's promising people content. And we're going to find out that the whole time Aiden Paladin was stealing money from her pay piggies. I guess the only example I can think of this actually being a thing, like this might be a thing, was the time around this time 2 years ago, Aiden Paladin wanted to do a big, massive documentary on her favorite state in the whole wide world, West Virginia. You know, Aiden Paladin has claimed on streams upon streams upon streams that, you know, she had all this equipment. You know, she was going around West Virginia, interviewing people. She was getting the history of West Virginia. She was doing all this research on West Virginia. And no doubt all that equipment and all those fucking expenses and shit probably cost her a lot of money. Now, where do you think Aiden Paladin got that money from? She didn't start up a Kickstarter. But she had the next best thing. That's right. Her Patreon. Aiden Paladin wanted to put together this big documentary about West Virginia. She was gonna go all over the place, do a shit ton of interviews, do a whole lot of research. And you wanna know something? It never happened. It never fucking happened. So all those super chats Aiden Paladin got while she went live, all the Patreon pay piggies giving her money, no doubt, for this fucking massive documentary, the documentary never happened. So again, this is the only example I could think of Aiden Paladin grifting her fans out of money. Do I believe another scandal like this will happen in the near future? Probably, but anyway, let's keep going.
Who support me on the internet. It's bullshit.
Yeah, if you say you're gonna do something, you fucking, like, you go out of your way to do it.
Even if Tonka lost the fight, he would still be in a better position now if he just lost.
If he had actually lost, he would be in a better position, but the problem is that, okay, here's the thing with Tonka, okay, is that Tonka didn't think for any fucking second that he would ever get called out on his shit, okay? That was his whole...
And neither do you. There are so many stories I can tell you guys about Aiden Paladin. And there are so many stories that I've covered on the previous channel. Need I remind you that we went over the time Aiden Paladin tried, and failed miserably I might add, to Me Too her Patreon exclusive Discord admin? Need I remind you that there is literally, pages upon pages on Aiden Paladin's Kiwi Farms thread going over the time Aiden Paladin tried to Me Too her Patreon exclusive Discord server admin? So there's definitely that. There's definitely the fucking Skype call, with Aiden and Crown T there. where Aiden tries to act all nice 1 minute, and then the minute crowd doesn't want to buy into her bullshit, she starts spurging out, and then demands that crowd doesn't fuck with Dr. Lehman or she's gonna go berserk. Then again, that was going close to 3 years ago now, so who knows how Aiden Paladin feels about Mr. Lehman now. There's probably a bunch of other stories that I haven't really gotten into yet. I'm sure I will in time. Because again, no matter how many fucking channels I keep fucking losing, I'm still gonna fucking make videos upon videos tearing into Aiden Paladin. Because this is a bitch who for the longest time has done a lot of fucked up shit and has more or less gotten away with it. But I say, nay, nay.
Fucking stupid ass crap. He never thought that he would get called out on it. And you know what? I mean, Gaydor, the reality is that we got all fucked up on all kinds of shit. And we were like put into stupid ass fucking crap. Just to try and take out of the fact of the things that actually were going wrong that Tonka was doing, and just Tonka, but a bunch of other people, in order to basically kind of manipulate people into subscribing or to donating to people on YouTube during the entire, if you want to call it the blood sports era.
I call them autism sports now. After the IBS apocalypse, it's officially autism sports.
They're basically being encouraged or...
Such a fantastic hot take from Shannon Games, the boring first fag.
Encourage or push them to donating to shit they didn't actually believe in.
So what did, like, Tonka say to you guys anyway? Like in the lead up to the fight?
Okay. So what Tonka said to us is that everything was fake and that everything was bullshit. The reality is that, what was the point of this question? Shit.
The stuff that Tonka said to you about, the stuff in the lead up to the fight.
Tonka was just faggot towards me. Oh my god.
How exactly was Tonka Saw a massive quote-unquote faggot to you? When your fiancé at the time, Merc the Man Baby, was one of his massive supporters, as I have just stated, okay? Merc the Man Baby was on the Kumite every other day of the week. Merc the Man Baby was in Discord DMs with El Rariachi, calling Andy Worski a cuck. So how could someone who was vehemently defending, ball fluffing, and even doing ops for Tonka Saw, you know, why is Tonka Saw giving you shit when he knows your boyfriend at the time was one of his most useful attack dogs? It doesn't make any sense.
He would be such a faggot and be like, and act like everything that was going on was going to be super, super serious, and that like he was this huge dude. And I believed everything Tonka said because of course I did.
Well, of course you did, because you're a fucking idiot.
It was nice, and I why would I believe that he was a liar?
You being nice, you being retarded, potato.
And then I found out that Tonka was a liar.
And you said that, like, later on he, like, tried to say that everything was fake, that it was all staged, and it was all make-believe.
Well, that was a thing that, if you listen to some of the stuff that happened on those, the calls and stuff and the things that happened in person, they said that, yeah, it was fake. And I don't know. I literally don't know. I was never involved. It was not my shit. It was just, I was just trying to, man.
You weren't involved, but your fucking boyfriend at the time sure as shit was.
My dudes, I was trying to be nice to somebody that I thought was my friend. And then they...
No, okay. You really didn't try to be nice to him. The only reason you were quote-unquote nice to Tonka at that time is because Crown T, one of your biggest anime arch-villains, was getting nice and cozy with Kraut. And your pea-brained ass probably thought that, hey, Crown T's getting all nice and cozy with Tonka. Maybe if I start being nice to Tonka, Crown T will stop trying to A-log me, or especially attack Dr. Layman. So no, Aiden, you weren't trying to be nice to him. You were just trying to use Tonka to get the Kraut.
Ended up being a complete piece of shit. You know what I mean? And they ended up lying and being an asshole, and that's just what happened. I don't really know exactly what happened with Tonka's stuff, but I do know that he was kind of a faker.
Yeah, I think time has kind of bore that out now. He's currently feuding. He's currently feuding
but
with
I was
like
really,
and all
really
of them
told.
and doing the same shit.
Really, really told to not talk shit.
Well, yeah, because he's got this echo chamber where if you dare step out of line, then he like kicks you off the island. I think he's done that to like the last.
I love how the Gaydor gamer is talking shit about Tonka, about hugboxing, and having this whole, you know, if you say something mean to Big Chief, you're gonna get kicked off of the island. When his Lord and Master, Ethan Ralph, does the same damn thing. Seriously, though. He fucking complains. He's talking all this mad shit about Tonkaso hugboxing the Kumite, where if you say one mean word to Tonkaso, you're kicked off of the island. When he knows damn well Ethan Ralph does the same damn thing. And does a lot worse than Tonkaso. See, because Tonkaso, this is a guy who will, at most, dedicate a stream to you, artistically screech about you for about 5-6 hours, and boot you from his fucking Discord server. Ethan Ralph will do the same thing, but aside from that, he'll dox you. And he'll get his psycho fans to attack you.
6 co-hosts.
I mean, I don't know, and I don't have by the way, and I'll be very clear about this, I don't have a problem with Tonka. I don't dislike him, I don't hate him, I don't
X'd it out on that.
have any problem with him at all. I just, and in fact, it was his people who for fucking months were trying to attack me. You know what I mean?
Why? Where's the evidence? Who amongst Tonkasa's camp was attacking you during the course of this whole shit show? Who? Can you name one person? Can you? I don't think you can. Again, why would Tonkasa and his people attack you when A, you were completely neutral during the whole thing, and B, your fucking boy toy at the time, Merc the Man Baby, was an ardent Tonkasa bull fluffer? How does it make sense for Tonka and his people to attack you when you're neutral and one of his best attack dogs, Merc the Man Baby, just so happens to have been dating you at the time? It doesn't make sense.
So I was kind of like, why are you doing this shit? And they were doing it, and it was like, all right, well, that's kind of gay.
See, I don't hate Tonka.
Okay, again, Aiden, can you name one person from Tonkasa's group at that time that was attacking you? Can you name one? Can you honestly name one person that was a member of Tonkasa's camp during the course of the whole Tonkasa versus Andy Worski shit show that was attacking you? I don't think you can. Because you can't come up with a name Because that's a fucking lie.
Okay, either. Because to hate somebody, it's just like...
Kind of requires emotion.
Well, number one, it requires emotion, but number two, like, you actually... like have to have a really, really, really good reason to hate somebody. And I just look at Tonka and I'm just like, you're just pathetic. I can't hate you because you're so pathetic. It's not even
I could say the same thing about you there, Gaydor.
worth my time anymore to even like poke and laugh at you. I'm just like, whatever. You dumbass.
I feel bad for Tonka, really, more than anything.
Augie RFC says, Jen, I was the head...
No, Aiden, you don't feel bad for Tonka. You feel bad because your op to get crowd to stop A-logging you by using Tonka fell apart. You didn't care about Tonka during that whole fucking shit show. Because if you did, you would have thrown your hat into the ring. You would have sided with Tonka Saw, along with Merc the Man Baby. But the only reason why you didn't vehemently support Tonka during that whole shit show was because you were only trying to use Tonka Saw to get into contact with crowd so that you can get crowd to stop A-logging you. You want to know something? That actually kind of happened. Because one of the very, very last streams for the Kumite of 2018 just so happens to be a stream where Aiden Paladin and Kraut was on the Kumite. Granted, Aiden Paladin was using Mert the Man Baby's account at the time, but throughout the duration of that entire fucking stream, Aiden Paladin attempted to make peace with Kraut. So again, Aiden, you don't give a shit about Tonka at all. You never really did. The only reason you were even remotely nice to Tonka Saw in the first place was because you secretly wanted to convince Tonka to set up a stream where you and Kraut can hash it out. And hopefully end the beef between you and Kraut. And well, mission fucking failed on that.
Story of the Kumite today. 2 years ago, that would have been pretty cool. I do have some more questions.
Yeah, go ahead. At me.
So, what happened after the Barley's thing? Because I didn't see the rest of you, like the Kumite crowd. Because we all met at Barley's, like everybody from both sides, to hang out and get drunk. What did you guys do after, like the next day after Barley's?
I didn't speak with anybody. I didn't talk
She sent tit pics to Dr. Lehman. I guarantee it.
to anybody. I didn't interact with anybody. I just went out and my boyfriend and I at the time went out and got more fucking liquor. We
So
had
that was-
nothing to do with the rest of the...
Okay, so rather than going out and continuing to hang out with the various internet personalities you were seeing the whole damn time, you know, rather than continuing to meet up with people like Gaydor and Nick Ricada, Dick Masterson, Ralph Worski, and people on the Kumite side, rather than fucking interacting with other people that you know on the internet, you and Merc the Man Baby decided to just stockpile on booze and spend the whole fucking time in your hotel room drinking.
would take crowd at all.
So that was kind of it. Like once Tonka...
You know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. This woman's liver is definitely blacker than the men she has dated. I swear.
showed and the post-celebration party at Barley's Tap Room, you just kind of said, nah, fuck it. We're gonna do our own thing, have our own vacation. Okay, there's something they said in chat. They're talking about Broski and the cancer thing. I was actually on that stream, everybody was really, really autistic about the broski thing. I remember because Cog was doing all of these streams about his cancer scar, and he's like, "Oh, it looks fake. It looks photoshopped." It was this blurry ass fucking picture, and it was the dumbest shit. And they all tried to like accuse Broski of all this shit.
For the record, I have no idea exactly what happened with the Broski cancer situation, and nor do I care because, well, it's pretty fucking retarded. And not worth my interest.
Tonka actually went at Broski about it at first before he got a feel for like where the narrative was going, and he actually kind of like tried to throw Broski and Optic under the bus about that whole thing. And now, like Augie says, Jess says, no, they gave him money when they were friends. When they were friends, and now they're fighting. So Donga's like, pay me back now. This is a loan, and Broski's like, no, fuck off. Yeah, Broski's completely right in that situation. Tonka's just. And that's what Tonka would do. Tonka would, like, try to bribe people off with, like, insignificant amounts of money and be like, oh, yeah, you know, this is because you're such a good friend. Like, he tried to, like he sent Scrub a computer and all this other shit. He was always trying to do that shit behind the scenes.
Whole Scrub thing.
And if anybody dared...
Oh, for those who are wondering, Scrub was a person on the internet that is by far the smartest person on the internet. Because he decided to take the money and run when he realized everything was getting fucking gay. Really can't say I blame that person. Lord knows I'll probably have to be doing this soon. I mean, for fuck's sake, right now the only drama of any significance is just PPP spurging out at John Michael Cowley, the Lolly Crybaby Super Flagger, Boober Lee, also known as T-Clips, a fucking clipping channel, and Ear Juice. Oh, and also Cogs White Knighting for Medicare Fembot now. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, if it wasn't for fucking Sagittarius Shorty being a degenerate subhuman, I probably would have left the fucking internet already. And you wanna know something? I probably will in the near future. Assuming, of course, I don't find another locale to bully beforehand, but yeah. I think it might be time for me to retire soon. But anyway, let's continue.
Like, turn against him or say, like, one cross word, suddenly it was just like, oh, pay me back! Oh, my God! It was so stupid. As all the fucking money that he owed Failure for hosting the show, like Tonka has the fucking gall to go at Broski over, what was it? Hey, Augie, what was it, like $500? Did he send Broski that one time, like a year ago? Yeah, it was $500.
Alright, and that's the end of this fucking video. Well, figured I might as well make some Aiden Paladin content. Whether or not I'll be continuing to make more Aiden Paladin content in the near future, I really don't know. I mean, it's pretty much going to be shit I've already went over. I mean, I highly doubt there's going to be any new Aiden Paladin shit. Unless Greed the Cannibal does something, but I doubt it. Anyway, I'll be seeing you guys.